In a world of impossibility, God makes a way. In the darkest times, God is present. Even if we doubt, turn away, give up on hope, God is present, patiently waiting as we stumble and bump into one another and the obstacles of our time. In a year of so many challenges and changes, God is present as human beings stumble in the dark. And once again, we encounter the story of the angel Gabriel announcing to Mary that God has a plan. And could she find her way to say yes to God, to new possibilities, to life interrupted, and a world turned upside down for all time? Gabriel's greeting perplexes her. Greetings, favored one. The Lord is with you. Mary, a young girl engaged to be married from a small backwoods town, remains still, listening, curious, perplexed, pondering what this greeting might mean. She wonders, perhaps, what has she ever done to become favored in God's sight? Why would God choose her to favor and abide with? And the angel Gabriel encourages her not to be afraid as he begins to reveal his message from God to her. It is a message of wondrous possibility, of hope, of the birth of the promised one, whom the Hebrew people have been waiting since the time of King David and the prophet Isaiah. She will bear God into the world. In the moment, it is as if time is suspended, as heaven and the whole world awaits her response. It is all very mysterious. And she says, "How can this be, since I am a virgin?" And Gabriel responds, "The Holy Spirit will come upon you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. Therefore the child to be born will be holy." And Mary, just in case you have doubts that God can work through you, your relative Elizabeth, in her old age, has also conceived. And Mary responds, "Here I am, the servant of the Lord. Let it be with me according to your word." And I wonder what the world would look like if each of us would awaken each day to a whispered, "Greetings, favored one, the Lord is with you." Would we greet our day with awe and possibility and wonder, or would we doubt that we are even favored by God, loved by God, and that God is present with us? I think it might simply be a choice to greet the fullness of the day as gift, and our being God's gift and instrument at this time. Throughout each day, greet and embrace the tasks, questions, needs that we encounter with an open heart and willing spirit, taking time to ponder and respond, to allow our day, our life to be interrupted, to bear God's love and light into the world. We hear today about David realizing he's now living in this beautiful house while God resides in a tent, and he decides to build God a house. And God comes and says, "I didn't ask for a house. Who do you think you are, David, to decide for me? It was I that brought you to this place, ensured your well-being, success, brought peace and prosperity." God doesn't need a house, a temple resplendent with beautiful appointments of silver and gold, jewels, ornate carvings, finest cloths of deep blues and purples. God is quite happy in a tent of humble, frail human flesh, the tent of Mary's body, With her yes came her being titled the Theotokos, God-bearer, at the Council of Ephesus in 431 AD. And each one of us is a tent of flesh for God. We are not God, we are God's instruments, carriers, bearers of God's story. Mary was the first to say yes, to dare to believe in the impossible, to offer herself, her life, her body, to bear God into the world as she responds. Here I am, the servant of the Lord. Let it be with me according to your word. In her willingness, God makes a way into the darkness of the world, creating untold possibilities. Her yes changed the world. Her joyous response, the Magnificat, turned the world upside down, disrupted the status quo, and challenged and continues to challenge the world order. As the lowly are blessed, hungry satisfied, rich sent away empty. The mighty powers are brought low, the proud scattered, the humble exalted. It is a radical statement. The 20th century German theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer called it the most passionate, the wildest, one might even say the most revolutionary Advent hymn ever sung. It is a rallying cry for believers in God's kingdom on earth, for the oppressed and the downtrodden across time and space, and for those who seek justice in this life. So radical is Mary's statement that it has been banned during periods of unrest. In India during the British occupation, Guatemala in the 1980s, and Argentina in the 1970s. And here in the Episcopal Church, this radical, joyous statement makes its way into our hearts and souls as we repeat it every day in the service of evening prayer. So on this fourth Sunday in Advent, as we prepare for the coming of Christ, can you hear the angel's voice saying, "Greetings, favored one, the Lord is with you"? What might be your response?